I need a microphone. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the live stream. Today, we're talking about the Wheel of Time. We've got, let's see, actually, today is, Thursday the 7th. We should be getting another episode in like an hour. This is how much I care about, staying like super current and like being the first to the game. That used to be important to me. It is not now. Anyway, but we've got 3 episodes so far. We're going to talk about Wheel of Time Season 2, episodes 1 through 3. So, full spoiler alert for that. Just like it says right down there at the bottom, we're going to be talking about all 3 of those episodes. And in so doing, we will also talk about plot points from The Great Hunt. From The Eye of the World, I'm sure. But also The Great Hunt and The Dragon Reborn, which are books 2 and 3 in the series. So, it's already up for some. I checked like a half hour before I went live. It wasn't live for me yet. Should we? Let's have a look. See if it's on there. Yeah, we'll go to Prime Video. Let's see what we find. I'm just curious now. I won't be able to, obviously watch it with you guys, but nope, not yet. Yeah, not there yet, but it'll be there soon, I'm sure. So no problem. So hi, Alex. Hello, Baba. How's it going? Nice to see you. Nice to see you both. So let me actually, there are just a few of us here right now. Let me kick it to you guys. I'm always better at reacting than I am at, just holding forth. I can do that okay sometimes, obviously, but I enjoy reacting and hearing what you guys have to say before I kind of put my own spin on things. So let me know what you're thinking so far. Don't worry about spoilers. I'm going to keep this ticker going, so anybody who joins in the live stream, they're going to know. Yes, this is a full spoiler discussion. So, yeah, how are we feeling about season 2? I will say this. I'll go back to season 1 while you guys think about it and write out your reactions. If on a scale of 0 to 10, 5 is literally just perfectly neutral, whatever. Season 1 probably had me at about a 6. Like, I felt more positive than negative, but especially toward like the very beginning and the very end of season 1, there was some stuff that had me kind of, not thrilled with decision making and writing and all that stuff. But there were absolutely some standout moments, especially through the middle of season 1. But much like The Eye of the World, season 1 has a big job, and that's the start of any epic fantasy is world building. They had a lot that they needed to accomplish in season 1 as far as world building, and that kind of got in the way of diving into the kind of the personal story that the Wheel of Time has at its core. And now, when I say it's a personal story, it's actually about 10 personal stories, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so season 1, on balance, 6 out of 10. Let's see, what did I love from season 1? I enjoyed the girl in the mining town who turned out to be a dark friend. Like she was a fun performance from that season. Trying to think of other like big standout moments. I think that mining town was actually kind of a big standout moment for me in general. I liked Tom Maryland's stuff going on there. The introduction of an Aielman. That's something that the books don't really do very much, if at all. I don't think we don't even see an Aielman in the first book, but everybody remarks on how much Rand looks like them. I am, by the way, actually about halfway through The Great Hunt right now on my big Wheel of Time reread. Let's see, where's Todd? Todd is on book 5, I think. So Um, yeah, let's see. You also like the mining town. Yeah, it kind of was. Let's see. Other things that I liked. There was a lot the show had and has, but even in season one, the show had a lot going for it in the design and visuals departments. Getting that grand epic scale was pretty necessary, and I think they nailed it pretty well. Hello, Ashley. Hey, it's nice to see you. Oh my gosh, it's been a hot minute since we had Ashley Turner around these parts. Long time listeners will remember her from some of the. Were you on 2 episodes? I think about horror. We did horror stuff back in 2015, I think. Anyway, hi Ashley. Oh yeah, the Warder funeral. Um, it was, the Warder funeral. I can understand why people didn't like it. I'm trying to remember exactly how it went. It was um, very dramatic, very melodramatic almost. But then you think this is one of those things that everybody always says, oh, it doesn't translate on screen, but it works on the page, and that may be true. But I kind of liked seeing it on screen. The singing, the screaming, the whatever, the rending of garments and all that stuff was. I thought it was kind of rewarding and interesting to see that. Um, yeah, to see that on screen. Did my mic just like go way down? I don't know what just happened. Okay. Um, let's see. Season 2 channeling effects look better. Sets feel bigger, more distinct. Okay. And we have more stuff to offset what we know now, right? Because we have the introduction of the Shan Chan. Um, we get something that sets off our main characters from them and them from everybody else, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see. Oh, here's Ashley. One for the fantasy convention. Oh, that's right. Um, thank you. Um, eh, yeah, I loved those horror episodes that we did. And also Fantasy Con, best convention I've ever been to, and it's not particularly close. Um, okay, let's see. Faster. Okay, so back to Wheel of Time. Faster too, though not always as fast as I imagined. Oh, you mean like the pacing, the plot, the way they're going? Yeah, that makes sense. They're they're for those who don't know, they are trying to tell the story of both the Great Hunt and the Dragon Reborn in a single season, as I understand it. Um, and so that's why we have decisions like Matt being stuck in the White Tower and not going with Ingtar's band, um, trying to recover the dagger. They just kind of skip that part and have Perrin, off on the adventure while Matt kind of is. Uh, he's at the White Tower, but not in the same way that he is in the books, right? Very very interesting how they're trying to compress all of these things. Oh, okay. But you were talking about in terms of channeling. Interesting. Um, so let me see. Go back to what Jonathan said. Sets feel bigger, more distinct. Oh, and the channeling effects look better. I wonder. Can I pull up an example of this? Wheel of Time, season 2, channeling. If we can get like a picture of somebody doing it. Right. Hmm. The problem is I would love to just play a clip from the show, but you guys know how it is. You can't. uh, you just can't really do that, unfortunately. Um, no, that's not that sucks. What? I need a bigger picture than that. You know what? I might not be able to. I might not be able to show it. Let's give it one more try. Okay, that'll kind of work. Okay, now I can share my screen. So let's see. We got yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, and again, I would love to just like play the gifs, play the show. The only thing I think I can get away with is the trailer. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll pull up the trailer and kind of use that to talk about various aspects of the show. Let's see, giving it color was nice. The channeling effects, I think you're talking about. It's yeah, do we get our introduction to different types of channeling, earth, fire, air, that sort of thing? Again, I'm kind of in the middle of my great hunt read through right now, so some things are being a bit they're a bit jostled about in my brain. um, yeah, let me see if I can pull up the trailer here. Let's do it in this browser. uh, uh, Wheel of Time season 2 trailer. Let's see if we can get one. Blah blah blah. Let's go. Oh, can we put? Oh, let's put me over here. A lot better than last season, says Ashby. Okay. So okay, that was just a tiny glimpse of Egwene channeling. I didn't notice a huge difference between the two types of channeling. Um, where where did Egwene go? Did I? Am I crazy? Oh, it was all the way back here. Yeah, I don't know why I skipped ahead so far. Okay. So, definitely, I have a sense I'm trying to remember back to season 1. I didn't do a rewatch, before season 2 came out, but I feel like in season 1, it was, um, there was just less of it. There was less of an effect. And now they're bringing in more flows, which they're going to have to do once Egwene and Nynaeve really get a hold of their abilities. But this way, they get to talk about weaving and putting things together. So, um, oh man, the Damani just stood there for a while in their introduction. Yeah, that was. I will say this is one thing I'm really enjoying about how they're doing so far with season 2. Let's see, can we get? Yeah, let's get a little bit of Sean Chan in there. The slow roll of the Sean Chan um, is pretty great. It's not super slow. I mean, obviously, we've got that scene with Uno, so it's not like it's super slow. But they aren't giving away the farm. They're introducing these people and not telling you anything about who they are, where they come from, what their goals are, what their abilities are. That's none of that is there. So um, let's see. Oh, one of the novices names the five different flows. Okay, that's great. Oh, that's correct. Okay, yes, now I remember. When she makes the water filter, she says to channel earth and water. Okay, perfect. Um, anyway, yeah, really enjoying the introduction of the Damani quite a bit. I don't know. What about you guys? The Damani. I meant the Shan Chan in general. Um, this is a much more relaxed stream than last week, and because we're doing a relaxed stream, I'm eating cheese. Okay, you guys do whatever you want, but I'm gonna eat some cheese. So, a nice brie. Anyone? Okay. Such a close call. We've only been going for less than 15 minutes, so you're fine. But Linnea, as a Jordan Con goer and Wheel of Time super fan, let us know how you're feeling about it. What do you like? What do you not like? All that stuff. So the weaves you're saying in season 1 were all white weaves, and it feels like that's mostly what we see. The robot is talking to me, and I do not appreciate it. Where? There she is. There's my Egwene. Why is it on 720? I should put it on 1080. Maybe I shouldn't have eaten that Triscuit. Anyway, so what is that? Not white? Is that meant to be like green or brown? Maybe. Anyway, okay. Let's talk about what we like, what we don't, what we don't like from the first 3 episodes. I'm gonna hide this for a second. Oh, go away. Okay. So I'm gonna go to some site called Fansided, whatever that means. We're gonna go with season 1 recap, season 2 recap, or episode 1, 2, and 3. So we've got episode 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And I don't have an ad blocker on, so you never know what's going to pop up on these kind of fly-by-night websites. But still, we'll let it run. Okay. So let's see if I can blow this up so you can see it. And you know what? Let's put me on the other side. Why don't we put me up there? Can I get rid of this bull crap? There we go. The recap. Okay, so let's see. Oh, that's right. There was a cold open in season 2. I'm trying to. Somebody, I think it was Drew, told me he didn't care for the cold open. I actually quite liked it. It reminded me of the beginning of the Great Hunt when we have the Council of Dark Friends. I can't remember if what it's called, if they have a name for it, but we have that Council of Dark Friends and this little girl, and then, as I recall, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but you find out that she'd basically been stolen by Ishamael or some other of the Dark Friends. So something along those lines. And I liked it. I wonder if it's as rife with foreshadowing and unknown character work as that prologue in The Great Hunt. Oh, you know what? Okay, so then the focus shifts to Moiraine, who grapples with the heartbreaking reality of her inability to wield the one power. I had completely forgotten that she was cut off from the source in the end of season 1. No idea. And like I think I honestly blocked out episode 8 pretty hard. So there was a lot that I didn't remember that they were kind of picking up on. And so I just had no recollection of that, and I had to kind of piece together what was going on as though I were starting with season 2. Here, I guess I can move this back. Okay, well, let's see what you guys had to say. Let's see. You've been pleasantly surprised by this season. Way better than expected, especially after season 1. Yeah, see, I'm still a 6 out of 10 on season 1. I thought it was okay. Trying to conceal the Dragon Reborn. Now that it's in the open, they seem more able to follow bits of the actual story. Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's one of the problems with season 1 is that there wasn't really any mystery. They threw the lore aside for the sake of a mystery that they never actually seemed to care about, and that the writers, would forget about for long stretches of season 1, that we were supposed to care about what's going on with the Dragon Reborn, and they would just kind of forget because, hey, we need an episode in Shadar Logoth, and that was great. But it's like, hey, if you're gonna have the mystery, make it a mystery. And they didn't really seem to care. Let's see, I missed the show intro. No clue why they got rid of it. Well, yeah, I wonder why they spend money on these things anyway, because everybody skips it if you have that skip intro button, you're hitting the skip intro button. Maybe not you specifically, but a lot of people do. Most people do. And so they spend, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on getting this amazing title sequence. And the Wheel of Time one, I liked the one from the Wheel of Time, but it was hardly as iconic as something like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or something. So, anyway, now they're concealing Moiraine's shield. I don't know what that means. What do you mean they're concealing Moiraine's shield? They're concealing it? All right, let's move on. Time has passed since her intense battle with Ishmael. Ishmael. That's how it's like. It's the name of the guy that wrote those awful orcs." One of the first like major negative reviews of the Lord of the Rings. But he spelled Gandalf with a PH at the end. And there's that little part of you that's like, did you do that on purpose? Did you? Are you just trying to put a thumb in the eye of people who like this stuff by misspelling it? But this does not seem like that. Her bond with land shows signs of strain as they are severed from the one power. Meanwhile, you know what? Would that I could look that good with that outfit and sword strapped to me. That'd be great. Meanwhile, at the White Tower, Egwene undergo rigorous training, dedicates herself to mastering the one power. Nynaeve stands her ground, reluctant to harness such immense power, fearing its potential misuse. Is this editorializing? I don't remember this being an issue for that she voiced. Maybe she did. Maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention. I don't know. It's oh, hey Seth. Hey, nice to see you. Glad you made it. Let's see. Well, we'll come back to that. I made a list of things they put in this season that are directly up from the text, and it's decently long. Little Easter eggs from mega readers made me all happy and warm inside. Yeah, that's probably what's her name that they brought on as like their book consultant. She was like, can you just put this in there? I did notice that there were some pretty major changes. There were like things that you expect to see that end up being done differently or with a different person. So there's the scene when Perrin is traveling with Ingtar and the Shinarans, and they come into the village, and there's a woman in the window, and they go to investigate, and there's no woman there, but Perrin kind of flashes and sees the scene, like what happened to all these people. And I was kind of surprised as I have been going through the Great Hunt that that's actually Rand that happens to, that he gets to see these kind of echoes from the pattern. And so there are little moments that like that I'm catching, but noticing that they're like, even if you get that scene from the book, it's given to a different character. It's kind of interesting that way. The industry is slow to change. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Yeah. Let's see. In terms of show created mysteries, first they were concealing the identity of the dragon. Now they're concealing the nature of Moiraine's stilling. Are they? Didn't she say something at the end of season 1 about like I can no longer feel the source, I can no longer touch the true source, or something like that. And so you kind of get an idea of what's going on with her. Let's see. Really just here to see if season 2 is good. I didn't make it through season 1. I could be convinced if the second season is an upgrade. I think it's fair to say that season 2 is an upgrade so far. If you had asked me after 3 episodes of season 1, I would have said, hey, things are looking all right. You know, it's, yeah, this change, that change, the fridging of Perrin's wife. You know, there were definitely things to complain about, but after 3 episodes of season 1, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board with this. This is fine. It was the last episode or two of the series that that had eyebrows raising and people pretty upset, myself included. And at a certain point, it's not about like, oh, you deviated too far from the book. It's like, did you forget what story you're telling? You're kind of meandering. You seem lost from a storytelling perspective. That's what I'm talking about with like the mystery in season one, the Dragon Reborn mystery. It's just like, did you forget that that's a thing? Because it's been 3 episodes and nobody seems to care about that anymore. You're just walking and getting into adventures. Anyway, that being said, season two, definitely more focused. And if you, I'm trying to think if you could just start season two without going through season one. If you know that Moraine has been cut off from the source and that Matt wandered off from his friends, then you're equipped. If you've read the books, right? As long as you know those two things. Oh, and Rand took off. Rand finds out that he's the Dragon Reborn and he can channel, and he's scared of that, so he goes off on his own. And then you're basically up to speed. My friends and I have been debating whether Moraine is stilled or just shielded. Um, Good question. Doesn't a shield have to be actively maintained? I guess Ishamael could. Is he the one that did it? He could be doing that from a long way away, but I'm not sure. Um, I don't think it was super sincere. Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, it seems like one of those things where this might be too subtle. Like you sometimes you need to make things clearer for your audience, but I could see a thing where it's like, hey, we want to give Nynaeve this line and try to communicate that she's lying even to herself, that she really does want this power. Um, it's and that you have that coupled with her interactions with Leandrin. Is that who that? Yeah, Leandrin, who is kind of who's kind of taking Nynaeve under her really gross red Aja wing. And the way that she's trying to seduce Nynaeve into joining the Red Aja is talking about power, and you'll be the most powerful. Nobody will ever be able to do anything to you ever again, myself included. We'll show you the way, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see. Okay, sorry. I need to catch up. Parents' past site thing is weird, specifically only in that abandoned village. Yeah, it was. I thought it was a pretty interesting scene in the book. I'm glad it's in the show. I wonder if they're just trying to do something to introduce the wolf brother thing. So visuals were beautiful. Yeah, I agree with that. I like that. The mystery is that Ishamael did something, but what? I see. Okay, so um, regarding Moraine being cut off from the source, I get it. It is kind of fun to see him show up with the Shanshan, but I do wonder if it's just going to throw people off too much. Like, there are certain rules in the Wheel of Time universe. You can't heal death, right? And that's a whole thing. So when somebody dies, they dies. But there are exceptions to that. The Forsaken, Rand himself, they're constantly being spun out over and over and over again in the pattern. So you get him able to come back after being supposedly destroyed by Rand in the first book, right? But are regular viewers going to see that and go, well, if you can't kill anybody, what's the point? The plot armor, comic book deaths, all that. So I'm curious how non-readers are reacting to that particular thing, but keep an eye on it. Oh, that's right. Shields can be tied off. I forgot about that. That's great. And so it's going to take somebody like Rand who's powerful enough to be able to undo a knot in Sidene, right? Um, oh boy. I'm leaning complex Forsaken Shield. They will eventually hand wave away. I thought you said hand weave, like I don't know. Instead of doing big arm motions, the Aes Sedai are going to be like picking at it. That could be fun. Hi, Daniel. Let's see. Oh my gosh, everybody's like, hey, they can be tied off. Look, it's been 6 years, 7 years since I read the series. Okay, calm down. I'll get there. It's taking me time, okay? Let's see. Oh, this okay. Let's blow this back up for just a second. At the White Tower, Leandrin coerces Nynaeve into wielding the One Power, planting seeds of ambition within her, or at least trying to. We don't know if she's succeeding at this point. In fact, we have pretty good indications that she's not. That Leandrin is not succeeding. But this was another, kind of like the vision in the town. This was another moment when there's a scene from the book that's lifted and just given to another character. And in this case, it's in the boat on the way to Tarvalin. The Amerlin seat is giving Egwene and Nynaeve their lesson for the day. And she's the one that's jabbing Nynaeve constantly with these verbal barbs, trying to get her mad enough to finally channel. She's the one who kind of, she wraps up Nynaeve with the power, with flows of air, and then Nynaeve kind of blasts her across the room and does the same to her. And it's the exact same scene visually with Leandrin now, but in a different location with different intent, and with different characters, obviously. And so it's it's interesting how many of those little things they're doing that are so different. Blah blah blah. I don't think we care about concluding the episode till the arrival of Varen and Adelius. Okay, all right, cool. There we go. Let's see what you guys have to say. That's more important right now. My gripe with the end of season 1 really had nothing to do with the book deviations. It was just ridiculously bad storytelling in general. I don't know about ridiculously bad. Let's not be too harsh. It could have been handled a lot better. I'll give you that. But so here's okay. There we go. I had to undo my cord. End of season 1. Bit of a mess. And there are reasons for that, COVID and whatnot threw a wrench in the works. So it did feel like a bit of a mess. There's no like great excuse for that, but there are reasons, right? But then I just finished my reread of The Eye of the World. And I've now read that book 4 times. And if you asked me to reiterate what happens once they get to the Eye of the World, when 2 Forsaken show up, then a 3rd, and like, how is the battle fought? What are the weapons used? What's this? The cords behind people's backs, feeding them the one, and then cutting off the source and the vaporizing this and that, and what like I can kind of call up some of the images, but like it's never super clear. Like, what's the Eye of the World? What's happening with these other 2 Forsaken? How is this battle between Rand and Balsamon functioning? It's actually not super clear. And after 4 times reading the book, I'm still like, wait, so what happened exactly? And it's getting clearer, but like 4 reads in. My point just being, the end of the Eye of the World in the book is a little bit of a mess. A little bit. Look, I'm not saying it's like bad per se, but it's a little bit of a mess. It could have used a harsher edit, I think. Or maybe just a better understanding on the part of Robert Jordan of, a better grasp of what he was trying to convey. Maybe he didn't have a super clear idea of what was going on at this point. I don't know, but I guess my point is just that that how do you adapt something that is pretty imperfect in my view to begin with? You know, they had their work cut out for them. Let's see. Blah blah blah. Yes, Daniel Green, smarter than Craig. Congratulations. Okay. Let's see. Oh, the biggest gripe, bringing Nynaeve from back from the dead. Yes, yes, I agree. That was poor form. That was. I think the idea was, hey, we're going to try to convey how powerful um, Egwene is uh, by having her perform this miracle. But it's like, yeah, she can't. Nobody can. That's not. It's not just a thing that you are able to do. So, yeah, that one was pretty bad. Let's see. My gripe wasn't the deviations from the books. It just felt like it was messing with my internal vision of that world and story in a way I didn't like. Super fair. I remember saying this when season one was just out, and we were talking about it a lot on the show and here on the channel. And I had it, advice, I guess. My advice for a lot of people was, hey, you know, if you're afraid of X, Y, or Z, you know, diving into the show, maybe the best thing you can do is not watch. And that's okay. That is a valid choice. If you're a massive Wheel of Time fan and you just love your head canon, and you don't want something to mess with it, then yeah, forget the show. I think that's okay. Um, I might not have said that 10 years ago, but I'm older now. Shannara Chronicles was ridiculously bad. Season one wasn't in that league. There you go. That's perfect. Shannara Chronicles. That how do I put it? There have been attempts over the decades to adapt the Sword of Shannara. And you know it would get through the writing stage, it'd get some names attached, and then it would kind of fall apart, and or somebody would want to buy up the rights and make a show, and Terry Brooks would be like, nah, no, 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 let's not. He did that for years and years, as I understand the story. He's welcome to come correct me. That's fine. But as I understand it, he finally relented when Spike. I know it was MTV at first, and then it moved to Spike. MTV comes calling, says, "Hey, we want to make the Shannara Chronicles," and it kind of felt a little bit like, you know, I've written my last Shannara book. I don't necessarily care the way I once did, and I would love for you to back up a dump truck full of cash into my driveway, um, so that my grandkids never have to work again. You know, that's a bit what that felt like. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like it was so bad. I you know you want somebody to step in and say you can't do this to these books, and he didn't do it, or at least whatever. We'll leave the Shannara Chronicles behind. We should do, you know what? I got to look into the legality of this, but we should do a Shannara Chronicles like watch along on Patreon. That would be fun. I wonder. I did recaps for those back in the day, for TV and Jelly. And that was some of my favorite writing I ever did, just because it was so much fun. Not because it was like my best writing, but it was some of my favorite. Okay. Let's see. Consolidations worked fairly well, like Varen taking the place of Vandine. Yep. Yeah, that worked for me. Only 4 times. I would have read, honestly, I probably would have read the entirety of the Wheel of Time a half a dozen times by now if it weren't for the show. Because the show keeps me sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. The show keeps me moving on to the next book, always the next book, always the next book. And that is not my normal modus operandi when it comes to reading. I naturally read more deeply than widely. And so, that's why I know a ridiculous amount about Tolkien, because I dove so deep into that for a decade. Wheel of Time probably would have been the same way. I probably would have finished it a half dozen times by now, but nope. Um, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, hold on a sec. Wow. So we're fostering a dog. The dog just got here today, and I am sneezing like crazy. So yes, I am not just allergic to cats. I am also allergic to dogs. For anybody keeping track. Um, okay. Yeah, there you go. I'm all but obsessed with Wheel of Time, but cannot wrap my brain around what happens at the end of Eye of the World. Yeah, I'm not sure that Jordan really understood it. So, wait, what? 3 out of 11 episodes, Nynaeve has died. Possibly 4, depending on how you count it. Oh, in 3 out of 11 episodes, Nynaeve has died. I see what you're saying. That's funny. So season 1, episode 8, The Arches. I don't remember the other one, but um yeah, there's the scene with the boy in Tyr, right? He's in the Stone of Tyr and he's trying to revive him after he's killed. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? So yeah, this does kind of undercut that. Um hmm. Okay. We've discussed the lack of tension. Yeah. Yeah, it's you have to be so careful, because you want, as a writer, you're like, what's the emotional resonance? We want people to react in this way. We want them to take this or that away from this episode or this scene. And there a great example of that, if you've watched the Lord of the Rings uh special features, like the extended edition special features. They really go into depth about how they constructed the story. And one of the things they talk about is the death of Haldir at the end of the Two Towers. This is not in the book. The elves aren't anywhere near Helm's Deep, and let alone Haldir. But they bring the elves in for that kind of to buoy up the not only the forces of good, but also the watchers, the viewers as well. So they bring the elves in, and Haldir is leading them. And then at the end of the Two Towers, Haldir dies. It's this epic scene where he's looking around him at the death and the carnage, and the elves lying beside Uruk-hai, and yeah, the futility of it all. So it's this whole thing, and they talk in those special features about how they inserted that because they felt like they needed that emotional gut punch from somebody who can we throw away. Haldir. Okay, great. Let's kill Haldir. And even that, I don't love the way they did that in the Two Towers, but it doesn't mess with the books, or with the story. Sorry, not with the books. Forget the books. It doesn't mess with the internal storytelling that you're going through. Whereas in the Wheel of Time, there have been so many of these over and over and over again that it does lose its gut punchiness. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, sorry, little girl. My mistake. Oh, she died in the Trolloc attack in the Two Rivers. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway. Let's see. Do we want to look at any of the others? Got oh my gosh. Please go away. Oh, please go away. I gotta wait till that thing. There. Okay. Oh gosh. Let's see. Oh, that's right. We didn't even barely get Rand in the first episode. get him in episode 2. We also get introduced to Celine. Blah 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 blah. So let's see. We've got Parent of the Shinarans, troubled memories from parents past. Oh yeah, this is fun. The lifeless fade. This is the scene where in the Great Hunt they come on the abandoned village and find a fade was nailed to a door through his non-eyes, um, alive. It's disgusting and terrifying and really really great. I love that. So yeah, that was fun to see. Excuse me. Let's see. Oh, and then Matt meets Min. How interesting. What a way to make that a thing. Well, we'll talk about Min in a moment, I guess. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we do have our first glimpse of Elaine Tricond. It'd be interesting to see. What's her name? Kiara? Somebody tell me how to pronounce it. Coveney. Kiara Coveney. Probably something Irish. I don't know. That would make sense with the red hair, if that is in fact her hair. But she definitely looks the part, right? She looks like a good Elaine. The question is how they'll do with her character and how she'll do with the performance. I hope it's really good, because I do like the character of Elaine, or at least I don't know if I like Elaine very much, but I like her storyline, the stuff that she's involved in. So she's important for me for them to get right. Let's see. Confides in Celine. All right, let's talk about Celine. All right, can we talk about Celine? I'm gonna pull up a. See if I can find a picture of who they cast for Celine. This is like kind of a shockingly bad picture for something that looks kind of official. But but there we have it. So, okay, there we go. So we've got our Celine. Let's put me back up there. And I quite like her. She's obviously very beautiful, very sexy, and has I think as important as that is her ability to convey what Celine does in the book, which is kind of that it's not carefree, it's not lackadaisical, but she has this kind of easygoing attitude with her relationship with power and everybody's relationship with power. And that's even the wrong way to put it. What I mean is she's obsessed with power, but she doesn't like show it off. She'll kind of laugh off or hide power. But she talks constantly about glory and honor, and we haven't gotten there with this Celine yet. But she does kind of have that like I know everything, and that look on her face, right? I know everything. You know nothing, but I'm going to kind of bring you along like a lost puppy and show you toward true power. That's her obsession. And I think she's carrying that off well so far. I know a lot of people are concerned that she is so much older than Rand in the show, but honestly, who cares at this point? You can't do the ageless Aes Sedai thing. They have to play around with ages for tons of these characters, and so hey, she looks 10 years older than him. Well, she's thousands of years older than him, so let's let it go, and I think she's doing a good job so far. Let's see. Should be Kira. Oh, okay, Kira. I'll never stop swooning over Yasha. There you go. What is Wheel of Time? So I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story. I was when I was a missionary. So Mormon missionaries not allowed outside media. So you can't do you're not no music, books, no movies, no TV, none of that stuff. It's you're expected to immerse yourself in the work, right? All the time. But you're 19 and 20-year-old kids, you're not doing great at that. So um anyway, one day I was in this apartment with four missionaries, three other guys and me. And one of them asked while we were preparing dinner, they said, I've never actually read Harry Potter. I've never watched the movies. The fourth movie was out by that time. I've never watched it, never read it. What's Harry Potter about? And that was I said, I will tell you. And I spent like all my spare time over 2 days writing down every bullet point that I could remember from each book. Six books had come out from that point, and for 6 nights I made them sit down, all three of them, and I told them the story of Harry Potter in great detail. And I am tempted, but you were not going to get me to do that with what is Wheel of Time. Believe me, I'm tempted. um let's see. Oh, that's right. When she shows herself as Lanfear, she's disguised when looking younger as Celine. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the great week of Harry Potter. That actually coincided, I believe, with Toast Week, one of my favorite weeks and least favorite. But we found the greatest butter of all time at the grocery store, and I'm not kidding. This butter was sensational. It had little chunks of sea salt in there, but like amazing fresh sea salt from the west of France. Anyway, so we found this amazing butter, and we became obsessed with how good toast was, which is this butter. And we decided to have Toast Week, which was the same week as Harry Potter Week, as I recall. And so every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, had to involve or revolve around toast. Um, so Toast Week, we'd all make our toast. And I would tell the story of Harry Potter. Uh, and I think I did it pretty well. Just imagine me at the age of, I would have been 20 at this point, and kind of like acting out all the parts in the living room of this apartment that we lived in. And I remembered a shocking amount from those books. I had only read them for like a couple of years before that, but I had read them all 3 or 4 times, and I just remembered everything, every line, every plot point. It was great. That was really great. Okay, so what is Wheel of Time? Should I read it? Uh, yes, if you like, good books that go on and on and on and on. It it's one of those things. One of my least favorite things is when somebody recommends. Let's take a TV show. Um, uh, let's see. Veronica Mars was one of my favorite TV shows back in like college and after college. Still love it. It's a great show. But the first like 3 episodes or so, the show hadn't really found its footing. Um, and it got better as it went. And so one of my least favorite things is when somebody recommends a show like that, says, try this, hang in there. It gets really good in season 3. And I'm like, look, I am not going to sit through 2 seasons of a TV show that you're saying isn't good to get to the good stuff. It's not worth my time. Um, Wheel of Time Wheel of Time feels a little bit like that, not because the first books aren't good. They're very good. I'm really enjoying The Great Hunt right now, but it is one of those things where it's like you can read The Eye of the World and you still don't. You have no idea what you're in for. That like book 4 is what blows out the Wheel of Time, gives you this whole world to live in and die in, basically. It's book 4 that really opens up the world. Hey, that's an arguable point, you know. Maybe by book 3 you're getting more and more, but yeah, it's book 4, and so it's hard to recommend. It's like, should I read it? Yeah, you should, but just understand that like you don't know what you're getting into after the first book. You have no idea, no clue what is in store for you. Um, so with that in mind, I really do like the first book a lot. I just finished my reread of the first book, and I remember it being messier than it is. It's actually really, really well written. Um, it's just the ending that, like I was saying earlier, the ending of book 1 is a little bit like incomprehensible, I suppose might be a word for it. Um, it's amazing. You'll lose yourself. You will you'll come to love and hate lots of the characters. But ultimately, Randland, as it's called, will feel like home. And if you manage to make it to the end of the series and you finish book 14 and you close it after the end, it will take approximately 5 minutes for the ache to start building. Like, oh, shoot, I need to reread The Wheel of Time, and you'll want to go back to book 1. And if you do, you're greatly rewarded, because the reread is, oh, shockingly good. But just be aware, I guess it is all consuming. It is huge. It is difficult. Just it's a lot. It's a lot of lot of book. And there you go. That's a question with a long answer. Well, there you go. I gave you the long answer. I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to talk about. Nynaeve and the rings, or the arches. I mean, um, I thought that was handled, except for the very last part of it, the death fake out. I thought that was handled really well. I actually quite enjoyed the fake out with where she comes out from the third arch and doesn't remember what happened. She just knows she made it out. And then it turns out that this is all, she's still in the arch, and it presents her with this new scenario. Um, and so I really liked that twist, and the way they handled that. I just didn't care for the death fake out. In the book, it is kind of similar, actually. If you go back to the book, Nynaeve goes through the third arch and she sees, the way out will appear but once. She sees the way out, she doesn't take it, and she's been warned not to channel inside the arches, but she big fat does it anyway and forces the arch to let her out. And so, like, it's a great scene in the book, and it does provide some of the tissue that, like the bones on which this story is laid in the show, I mean. But they lean on that death fake out quite a lot. And I don't care for it. They need to stop. just if just don't kill anybody unless they're going to be dead. Yeah. Oh gosh, The Next Generation. Hang in there. Yeah, absolutely. I rewatched season 1 like 3 years ago maybe, and it's tough. It's tough. You telling Harry Potter made me think of the scene in Reign of Fire where they're reenacting Star Wars. I've never seen Reign of Fire, which is shocking. It seems like that would have been right up my alley as a teenager, but I think it would have been secretly right up my alley because I remember as a teenager I tried pretty hard to be cool. And so I probably would have been a little too like sniffy about something like Reign of Fire. I should watch that sometime. Have you read the Stormlight Archive? Yeah, but what if they say no? That's a it's a good short answer for somebody who's read Stormlight. But yeah, if you can handle Stormlight, length is no problem for you. Zoe, is she the one playing Nynaeve? I have liked her. It can't be more of an undertaking than Middle Earth. Oh boy. Oh boy. It can. It can. I yes, it can. Let's say it depends on what you want to get out of it. Because if you read the Middle Earth stuff that's published by Tolkien himself, even if we stretch it and say the Silmarillion, right, which Christopher had to step in and do. But if the Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings, and the Silmarillion, I'm trying to think, we're looking at like 500,000 words, something like that. Uh, Around there. We'll call it 500,000 words. The Wheel of Time. What did I? I'm trying to remember now. I think it's 4.5 million words. It's just so much. Every book is the size of a Lord of the Rings, almost. They're absolutely immense, and they are packed with detail, unreal amounts of detail. And so, it depends on what you mean by that. Is it more of an undertaking than Middle Earth? Yes, in the sense that you have more, believe it or not, more characters, more names, more places, more abilities, more timelines, more just more of everything to try to memorize, right? But maybe that's not what you're after. I would say that Middle Earth is more of an undertaking if you're coming at it from like a philosophical bent. You're looking for the religious and philosophical themes in the book and teasing out, you know, all that stuff, whether it's internally or externally, trying to learn about Tolkien's life, and piece together what he would have meant here, and how did his Catholic faith play a role in this part, this construction of Middle Earth. Like that is probably more of an undertaking than the Wheel of Time, if you want to try to like come at it holistically that way. But if you just look at text to text, sorry, but the Wheel of Time is a heavier lift, with the exception of the language. The language is starting to get more and more archaic, or it's continually, I suppose, is the right word, getting more and more archaic with Tolkien. People are less and less able every year to kind of keep up with his prose. Not that's not an indictment of readers to, I'm not like wagging my finger. Things just age, right? And so so the prose in Wheel of Time is a lot easier. So nice. I didn't really I read Skyward, but it was only okay to me, and I never did go on with the series. I did finish the second book, but I have no idea what happened. I was so checked out. More clothes descriptions. A lot of descriptions of clothes, food, cleavage. A lot of bosoms flying around in Wheel of Time. What was I just gonna look up, you guys? I gotta go. Take care of my new dog. Apparently, foster dog. More. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna look up Wheel of Time total word count. Yeah, 4.4 million words. Yeah, that's just bananas. This is wordcounter.net. Let me see if I can. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is 481,000. War and Peace 587,000, and the Wheel of Time 4.4 million words. So there you go. Should you read it? Yes, you should. Absolutely. Also, all the threads working together in parallel. Yeah, I think Robert Jordan does a good job of bringing you into Randland, which he made the mistake of not naming. I wish he had. But he does a good job of repetition. And I know it probably drives some people crazy. Like if you ask a literary critic to take a look at the Wheel of Time. Hey, read the first 5 books of the Wheel of Time. Let me know what you think. They would savage the repetition in there, but it's really valuable because you're gonna forget. There are way too many details to remember. So trying to remember, wait, eh, which country is it where the women dress provocatively and the whatnot. I'm trying to remember all the ways they describe like the low cut dresses and the what. Oh, it's Ara Doman. Okay, so the Domani, um, like every time you meet a Domani woman, their dress is cut down to here, and are they the ones with the knives? See, I can't even remember. But he does a good job as you're reading of repeating those kinds of things. This is what you need to know about this land and this people. He just does it over and over and over again, so that as you read, you're not expected to have it all memorized as you go. It's yeah, it's easier that way. Yeah, no, I knew what it was. I knew what I was working toward. Um, and that's right, in Ebu Dar. That's the ones with the knives and there's just so many fun details. Yes, you should read it, and yes, you should listen along to our podcast series. And if you're not a patron, you should become a patron, because later this month I will publish the next bonus episode with me and Todd talking Wheel of Time as he reads through it for the first time. So anyway, but for now, I better go. We've been going for over an hour. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the Wheel of Time. If you want to. And if you're not, just remember a lot of other people are. So be nice online to the extent that you can. All right, everybody. Have a good week. I'll see you next time.